Mozeliak can do whatever he wants. In fact, this has got to be a two-part phase, or two-phase part, I should say. You can't cure the pitching problems at one trade deadline, and you can't do it like in one off season. It's got to be both. But the first step comes with moving assets that won't be your assets, in all likelihood will not be your assets beyond the final regular season game of 2023. So it's an excellent opportunity to use your assets to address a weakness and do it the best you can. And then you have to continue phase two when the off season gets underway. So Mozeliak's got a lot of work. And I've kind of set my expectations to be moderate for the trade deadline. I think there's a real chance people have unrealistic expectations or are going to be disappointed, and they probably shouldn't be disappointed, but we'll see. Because, again, Walker, your guys, I think there's a little more. I disagree with my friend Joe Sheehan. I think there is a little more value in the pitchers that are available because so many teams want them, and also there's just a shortage of them, and so it really is the so-called seller's market. But that doesn't mean you're going to get some organizations, top two pitching prospects or whatever. So it's a two-part deal: trade deadline, off season. Here's one thing I feel really adamantly about. Do not trade Nolan Gorman. I see this a lot. I see mentions that he could be available. I see recommendations. Well, if it's the right deal. When I hear or read and people are sort of talking about players where you draw the line or they're untouchable or off limits, I don't know that Gorman makes those lists much. And Brennan Donovan is starting to appear on those lists. But Gorman, let's just say, is underrepresented on those kind of lists. It's almost like he's projected or he is cast as a really attractive trade piece. And I get it because he is. That's kind of the point of why you don't trade him. Because if they're getting a million calls about Nolan Gorman, the first thing, if I was Mo, I'd say, well, my goodness, all these teams are really great, or all these teams are really good. They're better than us. And it's like they want this guy really bad. So what does that tell us? I think there's an underappreciation of Nolan Gorman in St. Louis. I mean, I really do. And I think it's laughable, actually. Because when he goes bad, when he has a bad spell, it's really bad. There's no writing it off or ignoring it. I mean, it's extreme. Like, his June was horrendous. His June was horrendous. No, there's nothing that would gloss over it or finesse it. It was horrendous. But how many months is a baseball season?
It's true.
His March, April was great. His May was great. His June was horrendous. His July so far is great. Last year, 2/3 of his season was really damn special for a rookie. And then the final third wasn't very good. He's 23 years old. I don't understand it sometimes. Of course he's going to go through those phases. Why would we be borderline loony by thinking that he won't go through those phases? And if we see veteran players go through those phases, Nolan out of the first month of the season here in St. Louis, for example, why would we put that standard, a different standard, on a guy who was 22 last year when he broke in? He's 23 now. He's getting better and better and better. And yeah, I can back it up with stats. And yet when he goes into a strikeout funk and he's bad for a few weeks, I'd rather not have that happen, but that doesn't mean you trade him. You don't, when you try to figure out whether you're going to trade a guy, you don't focus on the 1 month that he was bad or disappointing and ignore the other 5 months. You know what I did? I went today, and I'm not going to read a lot. I'm not going to read a lot of stats on this part. But why would he's been in the major leagues now for 9 months, right? And against right-handed pitching, and that's the whole point. He's almost always in there against right-handed pitching. He's been above average, and in some cases, well above average in 6 of the 9 months that he's been a Cardinal. He's had 2 really horrendous months. One was below average, but it wasn't like, a disaster. So he's had 6 above average months while learning on the job. 6 above average months, some of those being monster months. He's had 2 really bad months out of 9, and he had one that was below average, but again, nothing alarming, not too much anyway. Would I prefer that there's no bad months? Well, of course I would. But again, does that mean, okay, well, we better trade this guy? Yeah, I had a bad month. We got to get something for him. Shut up. You don't see a 23-year-old with this kind of power and maturity who works to improve his game all the time and does improve his game all the time. Someone who is putting up awesome power numbers already this early in his career. Since he came to the majors, there's only 2 guys 22 years old or 23 over the 2 years. Only 2 guys have hit more home runs, and that's Julio Rodriguez and Bobby Witt Jr. But let me kind of put that in a proper perspective. They haven't hit that many more home runs than Nolan Gorman, and they've had I think it's Rodriguez has had like 400 more plate appearances than Gorman, and Witt has had like 330 more, or I might have that the other way around. Well, they should have more home runs. But he's up there banging as well as any of these guys. I mean, he's actually outperformed Vladdy Guerrero Jr. When Guerrero Jr. has been like 22, 23. I think he still is 23. I don't know what the problem is. I just don't understand the problem, even though I concede, when he goes into a slump, it is a really bad slump. But if he comes out of it, and Ali Marmol actually was smart to kind of lessen his number of his playing time in June because it was bad, I really don't know why you should take that, as ugly as it was, and you define him with that in terms of whether you're willing to trade him rather than all the things he's doing well. I don't understand the logic. If he was 28, okay. If he was, this is like his 6th year in the major, okay. Second year in the majors, he's 23 years old. He's much better this season, even with the horrendous June. And I don't get it. You look at him now, even with that horrendous June, he's second to Arenado among Cardinals in homers, RBI, slugging percentage. He's 20% above league average offensively. 23, still figuring things out. This season, Gorman is one of only 12 major league hitters, one of a dozen, to have at least 19 home runs and 61 RBI as of last night. One of 12 to have that combination. The other 11 names on the list, their average age is 29.6 years. He's 23. Yep. Better get him out. He struck out 3 times again last night. We better get him out of here. compared to last season, you tell me whether this is a guy that sounds like, oh man, we got to lose faith in him. Boy, we don't see him the same way. You tell me if this hitting profile matches what I just said. Well, we thought he'd develop and he's gone the wrong way. Tell me if this matches what I just said there. Compared to last year, he average exit velocity up, launch angle up, hard hit rate up by a lot, slugging percentage up, batting average up, on-base percentage up. Strikeout rate is actually down, and his walk rate is up. He's chasing fewer pitches. He's not swinging and missing as much as he did as a rookie. He's already hit five more homers and driven in 26 more runs than he did all of last season. His slugging percentage is up 65 points. On-base percentage is up 22 points. Batting average is up 16 points. Weighted runs created plus is up 13%. Isolated power is up 48 points. That's a huge jump. And he's homered every 15.5 at bats. And he's 23. So he's improved in all those areas. And he's 23. Well, he's just kind of stalled out. He's plateaued. I think they call it plateaued. We better try to get something for him while we still can. Did you hear all the things he's actually much better at than he was last year? Or at least better than he was last year? His rookie season, he was slightly below the replacement or above the replacement level, 0.5 WAR. Nothing special, but not unusual for rookies. He's already up to 1.9 WAR in 2023. And did I mention he's 23 years old? Well, Bernie, I love you, pal, but he don't get them clutch hits.
Oh, here we go with that, yeah.
In high leverage, which is the biggest, this is the most pressure-packed situation a hitter can be in. High leverage, right? Mm-hmm. 40 plate appearances, or 40 at-bats, I should say. 275 average, 700 slugging percentage, a 993 OPS, 5 doubles, 4 homers, 15 RBI. In the most pressure-packed at-bats you can have as a hitter, he's had 40 of them, and look at all the destruction he's rendered on the other team in those situations. I don't see him getting any big hits. With runners in scoring position this season, he's hitting 291. He got a 341 on base. He's slugging nearly 700. His OPS is over 1,000, and he's 70% above the league average offensively in runners in scoring position situation. And did I mention he's only 23? I don't know if I've mentioned that. This season, he's hit 7. He's got 19 homers. 7 came when the Cardinals were tied in the game. 7 go-ahead homers and another 2 that have erased deficits. Did I mention he was 23? I'm not sure. I got an email. I got a couple emails.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, Bernie, but he can't even hit fastballs. Like that home run he hit yesterday, Bernie. It was a changeup on the middle of the plate. I mean, unless you can hit fastballs, well, hold on. Take it easy, champ. This season, Gorman's slugging .548 against fastballs and has got 12 home runs. But he can't hit fastballs. Okay.
That's pretty darn good.
Way to go, champ. You really enlightened me. Thank you. I didn't realize he was so bad against fastballs. He had 5 home runs on fastballs last year. He's got 12 already this year, and he's slugging around .550. Sliders give him fits, but bulletin sliders give really good major league veteran hitters fits. Good sliders. And if anything, that's funny because he hits a home run off a bad changeup yesterday. So therefore, we all living in the short attention span culture, that means all he can hit is that off-speed stuff. No, champ. That's not it, sport. His worst area of hitting is against off-speed stuff this year. He was pretty good against it last year. I ain't saying he's a finished product. I ain't saying anything of the sort. I'm just saying this guy's improved in virtually every category this year. He's only one of 12 players in the big leagues who's got at least 19 homers and 61 RBIs. And the other 11 on the list they average like 29 and 29.6 years old. He's 23. And he's better batting average, on base percentage, slugging, isolated power. He's better. He's great with runners in scoring position. He's great in high leverage situations. He tears it up at Busch Stadium. 6 of his 9 months have been above average, some of them exceedingly so. And there's only been 2 really bad months out of 9. He's improved offensively. Excuse me. Well, yeah, because I just explained that. He's improved defensively, despite what the deniers will tell you. And, another thing, because I wanted to look at his whole performance, because I had a feeling, watching all these games the way I do, I had a feeling, I'll kind of, it's usually late when I get around to watching the whole game. I'll sit there and on my iPhone, I'll go to my notes thing and I'll just keep some notes. It's like, check this, check that. Because I've seen him motor around the bases a lot, and I'm thinking, he's not a bad base runner. You know how Uncle Bernie here has hollered all season about their base running and how they were near the bottom of extra bases taken percentage?
Yep.
Where they just don't go first to third, they don't go second to home, they don't go first to home on a double. They don't move up a base on a ground ball to the right side if they're on second base. They don't tag up, things like that. The Cardinals were one of the worst. They're getting better at it, but they were one of the worst for a very long time. They had an extra bases taken. That's like on batted balls in play, where you pick up an extra base. They had a rate of they did that like 38% of the time, which is just horrible. Nolan Gorman's, this one just like, wow. Nolan Gorman's XBT, extra bases taken, percentage this year. You know what it is? 57%.
Oh.
That's about the best on the team.
Yeah.
It's right. I mean, it's right up there
Gotta
with the couple guys you would expect it to be really good at it. He's right up there with them. Bill James has Nolan Gorman as a plus 17 base runner, and it's a plus 20 if you include stolen bases. He's got 5 steals. He's been thrown out twice. This guy's a terrific base runner for a big man. I'm not saying he's the fastest. I ain't saying he's the quickest. I ain't saying, well, he might have a chance of, kind of get up there where Vince Coleman was. I'm not saying that. But you see a slugger, and he's a big kid, and you say, well, all right, maybe he's not the slickest fielder, maybe he's not all that quick, he's probably kind of a plodding base runner, but hey, he's a power hitter, so you can live with some things. You don't have to live with this guy. He's a terrific power hitter who's above average defensively, and he is one of the 2 or 3 best base runners on the team. So he'll have a month or so where he strikes out a lot. And that's where some of y'all draw the line? Oh, we can't have that.
Got to keep him.
Let's run through a scenario, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll shut up about it because I'm sure I'm getting on people's nerves. And if there's any dissent on the text message line, let me know.
I got one we'll read after we're done here.
Let me ask you this. After Randy Arozarena, Adolis Garcia, some others, does John Mozeliak really want to take the risk that he's going to send Gorman away and watch him turn into basically one of the sport's most renowned power hitters, a guy that's just going to be tearing it up for a long time? if you look at the improvement he's made from year 1 to year 2. Does Mo really want to spend the next 10, 12 seasons watching Gorman smashing fastballs into light towers and having broadcasters bring up your name, Mo, and say, like, I don't know what John Mozeliak, they've won a lot of games down there in St. Louis, but I don't know what John Mozeliak was thinking in some of these things. I mean, you think after he trades away at Randy Rosarina and he gives up Odalis Garcia, you think he would have learned his lesson. What was he doing trading Gorman? Does he really want to hear that in his retirement? I wouldn't think so.
No way.
I don't see how they trade him.
I'm there with you.
Now, you got some people out there who are going to say, well, you know, what if they offer Ohtani? Well, they're not going to. So, you know, try to stick in the real world. Well, what if somebody offers an ace? First of all, you got to tell me who the ace is. And we can talk about it. I would have a very, very, very tough demand before I would even consider trading Nolan Gorman. Just because people are impatient and they want a player to be complete by the second week he's in the majors, which doesn't happen, it doesn't mean, oh, yeah, well, you know, they got to get something for him. No, they got to stick with this guy because I think he's already pretty damn special, and he's already shown the willingness to work and study and prepare and get better in every phase of the game. I remember a time when St. Louis loved players like that. Loved them. Couldn't get enough of them. I think it's still like that, but there's like a surprisingly vocal number of people that, frankly, they just don't know how to have any perspective in judging a player's performance. You know, all they see is the strikeouts, and that's it. There's nothing else. That's just it. It's the strikeouts. So anyway, not that some people will be dissuaded for any reason, but I wanted to present some stuff that I wasn't sure that some of you or all of you knew, particularly the base running and also his incredibly impressive performance, high leverage situations, runners in scoring position, timely hits, home runs when they matter, not all the time because no one does that all the time. And I will say it again and then I'll shut up about this. The dude turned 23 on, I believe, May the 10th. So he's 71 days into his 23rd year. And he has in his, you know how we talk about Dylan Carlson? You know, Dylan Carlson's up to 1,400 plus plate appearances in the majors.
Yep.
Nolan Gorman is getting all this stuff done and improving, you know, in so many areas. And he has had, I'll round it off. He's had 650 plate appearances.
Big difference.
Do you imagine how good he's going to be when he does mature and get everything figured out? Still going to strike out a lot. I don't care. Because Willie Keeler's dead, okay?
Yes, he is.
Anyway.
By the way,
I'll be quiet now. Well, at least for a minute.
One texter did say, hey, Bernie's grumpy old man character / voice is priceless. I can actually hear it in my past saloon days.
Yeah,
Bernie can hear that as well in his experiences.
My days working as a bouncer.
Yeah.
My days working as, a bouncer would be the best way to put it, I guess. And, I've heard all the, I stood there, sat there, also just being, you know, back when I was single, running around as far as like watching sports with other dudes in bars and stuff. Some of the stuff I'd hear, that's where I come up with that. So I'd be just like, what are you talking about? It's like, it makes no sense, you know? So yeah, I got that stuff kind of embedded in my brain. For the people who don't like it, I'm sorry, because I'm sure it can be annoying.
It's good. We all need a good laugh from time to time. It helps out.
I don't know. I mean, what would it take for them to trade Gorman? I got to believe, because believe it or not, I don't believe that John Mozeliak has completely lost his mind. And I would think that after he made such preposterous mistakes the last few years in not understanding his own talent and sending the wrong outfielders away and sticking with the wrong outfielders. And now you got a second baseman, 23 years old, who hits for immense power with relatively short experience, who has shown the ability to learn, adapt, adjust, improve. And he's now also one of your very best base runners. I mean, why would the thought even enter your skull of letting teams know he's available?
The only thing I could think of, and this is very slim, and this really is...
I'm going to holler at you. No,
it's fantasy land, because it wouldn't happen, is you'd have to give me... He'd have to be part of a deal that would give you a true number one ace starter with years of control on that, and you're not going to get that. I mean, if you just want to get a rental... No, you got to have a guy who is a true number one starter that will be here for about 3 years before I'd even consider, okay, yeah, Gorman's got to go. He can be part of that deal. But, that, I mean, nobody's going to trade you that, because that's a commodity everybody wants to keep, because they're not going to give up a true number one ace if they have years of control on a guy.
And you know what that would be, too? If such a deal would materialize, you know what that would be? You know, you probably have some people saying, well, it's tough to give up Gorman, but, you know, at least they got this guy. I'm happy with getting this guy.
Right.
You know, that I wouldn't be. You know why? Because you should have gotten that guy a couple, 3 years ago. That guy should be in your rotation now. That guy could have been signed with the ownership's money.
Yeah.
That guy could have been procured with these lush revenue streams the Cardinals have as an organization, where they can afford, like Theo Epstein, when he was a general manager of the Cubs, famously said, the Cardinals can do, they have the money and the resources, they can do whatever they want to do. Let's not kid ourselves. They don't have any limits. If they want to do something, they can do it, period. I got that quote somewhere because I'm keeping it forever, and he's right. So what a reflection that would be on John Mozeliak if, to get a guy like that, a number one like that, you had to give up Nolan Gorman instead of already getting it done in another way sooner than now. Right?
Yeah, that'd be even... make you feel even worse, I guess, when you look at it.
Yeah, I mean,
way,
if you put it in that perspective.
Yep.
You're gonna trade Randy Rosarina for a guy that has to be told, son. This is a true story. Happened one of his recent starts, Libator. You traded Randy Rosarina for this guy, who has to be told, son. Why are you throwing your fastball 90 miles an hour? They're hitting it. Well, I can control it better when I don't try to throw it as hard. Son. No, you got to throw that thing 94, man. They're hitting the hell out of it when you throw it 90. What are you thinking about? So you'll trade Randy Rosarina for that. And you'll give Mike Leake $80 million, and you'll do all these other cockamamie things, and you'll just 3 years in a row. Oh, we've got plenty of pitching. I don't know how we're gonna, I don't know. We got 7 or 8 starters. I don't even know if we can fit them all in. And then you would be so desperate you would part with a guy like Nolan Gorman to fix the problem, a problem that you created and you failed to address. And then you'd have to give up a gem like this, who's only going to get better and better and better and better, and you're going to have him for a long time. And he will be the kind of guy that, especially when Goldie gets older, retires or whatever, Gorman will be the guy that fans want to pay to come see. Because you know what? The other thing about the kid, too, that's pretty amazing, and I hope he actually becomes a better hitter on the road, he rips it up at Busch Stadium. This year, just absolutely crushes it. So the fans are seeing like his best home runs, and they really are kind of wow-inducing type home runs. Because when he hits them, man, it's like, oh, is that going to get over the fence? No, it's going to be, is that going to roll to the arch grounds? You know?
Yep, it is easy power, man. It is sweet to watch.